I was having a fun time with 5 of my guy friends until my husband suddenly came back earlier. Reddit. I don't even know where to start, but I guess I need to get this off my chest. I've been lurking here for a while and seeing other people share their stories. I never really thought I'd be one of them, but here I am because I feel like I can't keep this to myself anymore. I'm still trying to process everything that's happened, and part of me feels like maybe writing it out will help me make sense of it all. So I'm a 28-year-old woman married to my husband, David. We've been together for about 8 years, now married for 3. David is also 28. On the outside, everything looks perfect, and I mean everything. David is a great guy, an amazing guy, the kind of guy that everyone says, you're so lucky to have him, and they were right. I really was. David is the type of man who goes out of his way to make me happy. Always listens, always shows up for me. He's romantic in ways that make you believe in movie love. The kind where you get surprise flowers or a weekend getaway just because it's Tuesday. But here's the thing, the ugly, uncomfortable truth. I'm not proud of it. But if I'm going to be honest, brutally honest, the way I have to be with myself now, I didn't get with David because I loved him. The only reason I ever started anything with him was because of the money. I know that makes me sound like an absolutely horrible person. Trust me, I know, but if you guys are going to listen to me, then all I can do is be upfront, especially since thankfully this is anonymous. None of the people I know use Reddit, so I'm not really worried about them stumbling on this and recognizing me or my story. Like I said, the money. That's why I got with David in the first place. David was an amazing guy, handsome, good-looking, charming, even. But if I'm being real with you all, the major reason I made the first move on him was because he came from money. David grew up in a wealthy family, the kind of wealth that means you never have to worry about bills or your future. He was a trust fund kid. I, on the other hand, grew up on the opposite end of the spectrum. My family was poor, and I don't mean the tight budget kind of poor. I mean the living paycheck to paycheck and sometimes still not making it kind of poor. Yeah, like the cliche stories you see in movies, we struggled, and when I saw David, I saw a way out. I made the first move on him because he was my ticket out of poverty. I thought if I could just get with him, I'd never have to worry about struggling again, and neither would my future kids. It was like securing a better life for myself, and honestly, for a long time, I didn't even feel guilty about it. I convinced myself that it was smart, that it was about survival. Whenever people ask us how we met, or whenever we talk about it, David always loves to tell the story about how I made the first move. He's always so proud of it, like he thought I was bold and confident. He'd say he had a crush on me but was too shy to ask me out, and he loved that. I went for it, but the truth is I didn't ask him out because I liked him. I asked him out because I knew what being with him would mean for my future. I grew to like David a lot actually, but deep down, I don't think I ever really loved him. I wanted to love him. I mean, how could I not? He's everything anyone would want, but there was always this part of me that was detached. I think I'm so twisted and broken that I don't even know how to love properly. David never did anything wrong. He never hurt me, never disrespected me. He was always good to me. I just couldn't love him, not the way he deserved and not in the way a wife should love her husband. I know it's awful, I'm an awful person, and there's no way to say all of this without sounding like the worst human being in the world. Trust me. I've tried to justify it in my head for so long, but it's all bullshit. I used David for what he could give me, for the life he could provide, and in return, I gave him this half-hearted version of a wife. Like I said, I liked David, but I never loved him. I just couldn't, despite how great he was, despite how amazing he was, despite how much he loved me, and despite everything he did for my family. He's been nothing but generous. And I mean really generous. He paid off my parents' debts, took care of my siblings' tuition fees, and even gave my parents a house to stay, something I could have never dreamed of. You'd think that with all of that, he'd be the happiest woman in the world, but that's not how it turned out. I was a stay-at-home wife, something I had asked for, something I had wanted from the very beginning. You see, I watched my parents struggle for years. We barely scraped by. I remember nights where my mom would skip dinner just to make sure my brother and I had enough. I promised myself that I would never, ever live like that again. When I met David, I saw my way out, and when we got serious, I made it clear that I didn't want to work. He didn't mind. He actually loved the idea of me staying home, taking care of the house, and eventually our future kids. So even before we were married, I was already a stay-at-home partner, and after we tied the knot, I settled into that role fully. I never worked a day in my life after that. David was the one bringing in all the money. He was covering all the bills, not just for our house, but for my family as well. My parents basically live in a home that David owns. So yeah, he has always been amazing to me and to my family, and I won't deny that. But here's the thing. I just could never be satisfied with him. I don't know why. I mean, I should be satisfied, right? I had everything I ever wanted, a loving husband, financial security, and a life most people could only dream of, but none of that made me happy. It didn't fill this emptiness inside me. I tried to be the good wife, I really did. I tried to play the part for a long time. The loving, beautiful wife, the one who waited for her husband to come home, who made sure the house was spotless and that dinner was on the table. But it felt like I was suffocating, like there was this version of me trapped inside that I had to keep hidden. And at some point, I just couldn't do it anymore. I started to let loose. At first, it was small things. I'd go out with friends more, hit up a few bars, nothing too wild. But then as David got busier with work, I realized I had all this free time. You see, David was transitioning into the role of CEO at his family's company. His father had just announced his retirement, so David was working insane hours. He was never home. and when he was exhausted. We barely talked, and honestly, I didn't mind. It gave me all the freedom in the world. I started going to parties, real parties with people I barely knew, and the more I went out, the more I realized how much I had missed out on growing up. I didn't get to party or have fun when I was younger. I was always too worried about money, about surviving. But now I had money and I had all the time in the world. So I started going all out, drinking, dancing, staying out until 3 or 4 in the morning. I started hanging out with people who were all about that life, partying, spending money, living it up, and with David's bank account behind me, I was the life of the party. People flocked to me because I could afford to buy rounds of drinks for everyone to throw money around like it didn't matter. I met a lot of people during those nights out, guys, mostly guys who didn't care that I was married, who saw the ring on my finger and still wanted to flirt with me. And honestly, I didn't stop them. I liked the attention. I craved it. Actually, it made me feel alive in a way that being at home with David never did. I wasn't just someone's wife at those parties. I was someone exciting, someone who could have fun, who could break all the rules without consequence. It started off innocent enough, harmless flirting. Maybe a little bit of dancing that was a bit too close. But it didn't take long for things to escalate. Soon enough, I was spending time with these guys outside of the parties, grabbing drinks, hanging out at their places. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, I was cheating on David. It wasn't just one guy either. It was a few, and they all knew about each other. It became this weird, twisted thing where I had this whole separate life that David knew nothing about. He'd be at work doing his best to secure our future while I was out there ruining it. That's when I met them, the 5 guys who would become my regular friends. At first, it was just casual. We'd all hang out, go to clubs, drink, whatever, but eventually it became more. I'm not proud of it. I know what you're thinking, and you're right. I was being reckless. I was being stupid, but at that point I didn't care anymore. I was so deep into this double life that I couldn't stop. I met these 5 guys, as I mentioned, and we quickly became regulars in each other's lives. They were wild, carefree, and exactly the type of crowd I was craving at that point. They were all college-aged, full of energy, and the fact that I had money to burn made them gravitate toward me even more. They loved my lifestyle, the house, the freedom, the parties, and I guess I loved the excitement they brought into my otherwise mundane life. Thus, David, being the hardworking man he was rarely home, so the guys and I often hung out at our place. They loved the house, who wouldn't? A 7-bedroom mansion with a home theater and a swimming pool. It was a playground for them. Whenever David was away, they'd come over and we'd hang out in ways that I'm sure you can figure out. It felt reckless, thrilling, and dangerous, and I didn't care when I was in way too deep. Then, about 2 weeks ago, David told me he was heading out for a business trip, nothing out of the ordinary. He'd be gone for 3 days, just like usual. I felt a surge of excitement as soon as he told me, because I already knew what was going to happen. I planned to have the guys over for a couple of days, get everything cleaned up before David got back and pretend like nothing had ever happened. David left in the morning, and I waited for hours after just to make sure he didn't forget something and come back like in some stupid movie scene once I was sure he was really gone. I texted the guys to come over that evening. We spent the entire night doing what we usually did, drinking, laughing, and being intimate. The next day, they were walking around the house like they owned the place. I didn't care. I was caught up in the moment. That evening, we ended up in the bedroom again. It was supposed to be our last night before I kicked them out. Early the next morning, I had to clean the house before David returned. Everything was going smoothly until it wasn't. We were upstairs in the middle of it all when I suddenly heard David's voice downstairs. My heart sank. I don't know how I didn't hear the security alarm go off, or if one of those idiots had forgotten to lock the door. But suddenly David was home. I didn't have time to process it. One moment I was lying there with 5 guys, and the next I heard his footsteps on the stairs. I froze. It was like time stopped, and all I could hear was the sound of my own heartbeat. David walked in the door, swung open, and there he was standing in the doorway. I expected him to yell, scream, and demand answers, but instead he was calm. It was the kind of calm that terrified me more than any anger ever could. He didn't say a word at first. He just stood there looking at me. I could feel the weight of his stare, and it felt like my entire world was crashing down around me. Then, without a word, he took out his phone and calmly called the police. He told them that there were intruders in his house, and within minutes officers arrived. The guys were freaking out, telling me to tell the truth, to say that they weren't intruders. But I couldn't. How could I? I wasn't about to make this worse by saying that David was lying. I didn't even have it in me to defend them. I was too busy trying to figure out how to beg David for forgiveness. The police took the guys away for further investigation at the station, and I was left standing there a complete mess. David still hadn't lost his cool. He looked at me still calm and told me to leave his house. He said that everything in the house belonged to him and that the only things I was allowed to take were my phone and a few necessities, no jewelry, no bags. Nothing that he had bought for me, just my phone and the bare essentials. I was crying by then, begging him, but he wouldn't budge. He told me to get out and I had no choice but to leave. I drove straight to my parents' house, feeling like my entire world had just been ripped apart. It's been over a week now and I haven't heard a word from David. I've called, texted, tried everything, but he won't respond. He's completely cut me off and I don't blame him. I've ruined everything and now all I can do is sit here and regret it. Every day I wake up hoping that today will be the day he calls that we can somehow fix this. But deep down I know that's never going to happen. I've destroyed my marriage, my life, and the one person who truly loved me. I hate myself for what I've done. I don't know how to move on from this and the guilt is suffocating me. I had everything and I threw it all away for something so stupid. I don't know what to do now. Update, hello Reddit, hope I'm doing this update thing correctly. I know a lot of you came here for an update. despite the fact that I got absolutely bashed in the comments on my last post. Yes, I deserve it, and thank you for the brutal honesty. Trust me, I appreciate both the positive and negative feedback. I'm not delusional. I know I messed up big time, and yes, before anyone says it again, I know I'm out of touch, cruel, selfish, and everything else I've been called. But you know what? It's ironic how so many people want an update, even though they tore me apart. So here I am, not because I'm looking for sympathy, but because writing here helps me get my thoughts straight. It's almost like journaling, except with a lot of harsh feedback. Haha, not exactly a cozy therapy session, but hey, it works. Now on to the real update. My parents, oh boy, they are livid, not just them. My entire family, actually. Everyone who's been under David's financial umbrella is hounding me. They want me to fix things with David, my parents, my siblings, every single family member who's been enjoying the perks of being related to me, or more accurately, being tied to David's wallet. They are enraged as if I wasn't already punishing myself enough. Every conversation is the same. Why the hell would you do something that horrible? How could you ruin everything? Fix it. It's constant. I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders and no one's cutting me any slack. They think I'm not trying hard enough to fix things with David, which is insane because I am trying. I've been texting, calling, even showing up at the house unannounced, just hoping for a chance to talk to him. But David's completely shut me out. He won't answer my calls, my texts. And the last time I went to the house, his security wouldn't even let me through the gate. So yeah, I'm trying, but what else can I do if he's stonewalling me? The worst part, my family isn't mad at me because they care about David or our relationship. They're mad because they're terrified of losing the cushy life they've gotten used to. My parents and siblings have been living off David for so long, they've forgotten what it's like to support themselves. They're panicking that David will cut them off completely, and honestly, I can't even blame him if he does. I mean, let's be real for a second. Yes, I'm a greedy, selfish person. I accept that, but guess what? So is my family. They've been living the high life thanks to David, and now that I've screwed everything up, they're freaking out about how they're going to survive without his help. It's pathetic, really. I love them. I do, but sometimes it feels like they're just as greedy as I am. All those years of being on David's payroll didn't make them better people. It just made them lazier. My family is practically begging me to grove at David's feet like that's going to fix everything, as if I could just apologize and things would magically go back to how they were. But it's not that simple. David's not the type of guy who just forgives and forgets, and frankly, I don't deserve that kind of forgiveness anyway. I broke his trust in the worst way possible. I didn't just cheat. I cheated with multiple people. My family is disgusted with me, but their disgust stems more from fear of losing their easy lifestyle than any genuine concern for David or my marriage. So here I am, still trying to pick up the pieces of my life, still trying to apologize, still hoping that maybe, just maybe, I can fix things with David, but let's be real. I don't even know if there's anything left to fix. He's completely blocked me out of his life. I'm stuck at my parents' house, surrounded by people who are mad at me, not because I hurt someone they cared about, but because I hurt their meal ticket. I don't know what to do. David was everything. I don't even know where to start rebuilding. My family's breathing down my neck. David's gone and I've never felt more alone. I guess this is what I deserve. Update. Hello Reddit. It's me again. I'm back with a mini update and honestly I'm fucked. I don't even know where to start. The past few days have been hell. I've spent most of the time crying, just completely breaking down. At one point, I literally had to pack a bag and leave my parents' house because I couldn't take it anymore. I went to stay at my best friend's place for a few days, just to get some space. My family was suffocating me with their anger and I needed a break from all of it. David and I finally talked. I guess he couldn't avoid me forever, although a part of me wishes he had. It was the worst conversation of my life. He told me straight up that he's already talking to a divorce lawyer and that I'm going to get served soon. Just like that, it was over. He said he was done with me, completely, utterly done. I broke down on the spot. I was on the phone with him, crying so hard I could barely get the words out. I begged him. I was literally on the verge of hysterics, telling him that we could fix this. That divorce wasn't the answer. I said we could go to therapy, that we could work on things, that I was sorry and I'd change, but he didn't care. He said he was over it, over me, over the lying and the cheating. And then out of nowhere, he told me something that shocked me to my core. He said he knew about the parties he had known for a while actually, but he let it slide at first because he thought I was just blowing off steam, hanging out with friends. But then he started to get suspicious when the parties became more frequent and he eventually pieced it all together. He found out I wasn't just having fun. I was betraying him in the worst way possible. I thought I'd been so careful that I'd covered my tracks. But clearly I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. Hearing him say all that he had known and just chose to turn a blind eye for so long crushed me. I realized that he had already given me more chances than I deserved, and now he's done. There's no going back. When the phone call ended, I just sat there numb, my parents, my siblings, everyone at home. No one even needed to ask me what happened. They could tell by the look on my face, by my tears, that it was over. And of course they immediately turned on me, lashing out with their anger. Why the fuck would you do this? How could you screw everything up? Do you realize what you've done to us? It was the same thing over and over. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't listen to them. Blame me for the millionth time, as if I didn't already know how badly I'd messed up. So I packed my things and went to stay with my best friend for a few days. Honestly, God bless her, because I don't know what I would have done without her. She let me cry, vent, whatever I needed. She didn't judge me or add to the guilt I already felt. She just listened and helped me calm down. After 3 days, I finally felt ready to go back to my parents' house. But when I did, I told them not to speak to me. I couldn't deal with their anger on top of everything else. I told them straight up that I wasn't interested in talking or trying to fix anything with them. I'm done. I love them, but I'm just done. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Everything's falling apart and I have no idea what to do next. David's moving forward with the divorce. My family's furious with me and I feel like I've lost everything. Update, hello Reddit. It's been a couple of weeks since I last posted, and honestly, I didn't update because, well, I've been busy, not busy in the sense that you're probably thinking like with work or life or anything productive. No, I've been busy wallowing in my guilt, self-pitying, miserable depression. You know, that special brand of I completely ruined my life kind of depression. The kind that you sink into so deep that it feels like you're drowning and can't even be bothered to fight your way out. Bit of an update though. Majorly. I got served. Yep, the divorce papers are here, so that's that. I'm pretty sure you can already guess how that felt. It was like a punch to the gut. More like one of those slow motion movie punches where you see it coming. But there's nothing you can do to stop it. And then when it hits, it's like everything inside of you has been hollowed out. I feel like I'm going mad. I mean, how do you even process something like this? It feels like my heart, my soul, everything that made me me has been ripped out. How did I have something so precious, so perfect, and let it slip through my fingers like that? Just how could I have been so stupid? It's like this never-ending loop of questions in my head and none of the answers make any sense. And worst of all, my best friend. My literal best friend is a lawyer. You'd think that would be helpful, right? But no, she's not really versed in divorce law, so she can't represent me, but she's been talking me through what to expect. And the news is bad, like really bad. She said that based on the laws in our state, it's very unlikely that I'll get anything out of this divorce. So yeah, there's like a 90% chance I'm walking away with nothing. Zilch Nada, if I wasn't already at rock bottom, that little nugget of information shoved me even further down. And there's also the fact that David didn't even let me take my things, not the jewelry, not the bags, not the expensive stuff. He bought me nothing. And maybe that sounds materialistic, but honestly, I'm broke right now. I'm completely broke. And if he had let me take at least some of that stuff, I could have sold it to keep myself afloat. But no, I'm left with nothing. And I mean that in the most literal sense possible. So where am I? I'm at my parents' house, living off them, feeding off them like a parasite. If it weren't for them, I'd probably be on the streets right now with nowhere to go and no one to turn to. But even that's not great. My parents are still pissed, like really pissed, and I get it. They're angry, they're scared, and they don't know what's going to happen next. David was their golden ticket too. Without him, we're all in trouble. So yeah, they're not exactly thrilled to be housing me right now. We don't talk much, I pretty much ignore them and they ignore me. It's easier that way. Every time I try to talk to them, it just turns into another argument about how I ruined everything, how I destroyed the one good thing we had. So we just avoid each other now. The silence is better than the constant fighting, and that's it. That's where things stand. David's moving forward with the divorce. I'm stuck here at my parents' house and my life is officially a dumpster fire. I've got no money, no future, and no idea what to do next. Update, hey everybody, it's me again and things have gone from bad to worse. I don't even know how to process it anymore. There's so much panic going on around me, but I'm just numb, completely numb. I feel like David has gone too far now, like he's using this whole situation to punish not just me, but my entire family. And honestly, maybe my family kind of deserves it, all those years of living off. David getting comfortable, getting lazy, and now everything's coming, crashing down. So here's what happened. Things were bad, but now they're spiraling. We got a notice. David is giving us 2 weeks, just 2 weeks to get our stuff and leave his house. I say his house because it's exactly that. It was never ours. And now he wants us out. Like yesterday, my parents, they're panicking. They've been trying to talk to him, calling, pleading, groveling even. But David, he's not budging. He doesn't want to hear any of it. He's done. He wants us gone and we have no choice. Why? Because years ago when David let my parents move into his house, they signed some informal agreement with him. No legal protections, no lease, just David's word that they could stay as long as everything was good. Well, guess what? Everything isn't good anymore, and now there's nothing stopping him from kicking them out. We can't even contest the 2-week notice because legally we don't have a leg to stand on. David had assured us back then that the agreement was just a formality and that he would even eventually transfer the deed of the house to my parents. But now I guess that wasn't really true, and that's not even the worst part. David isn't just kicking us out of his house, he's cutting everyone off. One of my siblings worked for him. David fired them just like that, and the other sibling who David had helped get a job by pulling some strings. Yeah, they got fired too. Coincidence? I doubt it. We all know David had something to do with that. He's done with my whole family. And it's like he's hellbent on making sure we all pay for what I did. My siblings talking about suing for unlawful termination. But let's be real here. Ever since everything went down with David, nobody in my family has seen a dime from him. He's cut off the financial support completely. We can barely afford food, let alone a lawyer. Where the hell is my sibling going to get the money to sue? It's ridiculous. And what's even more shocking to me is that nobody in my family has any real savings. I mean, how is that even possible, all those years of living in luxury relying on David, and they didn't save a penny? They just assumed I'd stay with him forever, that the money would keep flowing. Who does that? Who lives like that? Honestly, I'm beyond enraged. I'm furious, but it's like I'm too angry to even feel it anymore. It's this weird numbness, like I've been burned out by the constant stress and disappointment. I'm not even that worried about myself. I'll pack up my stuff and go stay with my best friend for a while. She's been a rock through all of this. And at least I know I'll have a roof over my head, but my family, they're screwed. My parents and siblings are the ones who are going to be running around like chickens with their heads cut off trying to figure out what to do. We have no money, no home, and David has cut everyone off, and the worst part is they don't even know how they're going to survive. They've been so dependent on him for so long that they don't know how to fend for themselves. So yeah, this is where we are. David has gone so far with this, and I honestly can't tell if I even blame anymore. I mean, I get it. I messed up. I know I did. But punishing my family like this, it feels like an extra level of wrong. I deserve what's happening to me, sure, but my family did. They really deserve this. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe we all do. Update. Hey Reddit. It's been a while since I last posted, and I'm sorry for the radio silence. I just needed to step back for a bit because things got really out of control between the hateful comments, the DMs full of threats, and its nonsense. I just couldn't handle it. It was funny at first. Some of the comments on my last post made me laugh, but it became too toxic and I had to log off for a while, and then life got busy and I kind of forgot about Reddit for a bit. But now I'm back and I do have some updates for those who've been following along. So yeah, let's dive into it. The big news is that the divorce has been finalized. Yep, it's official. It didn't take long at all, barely an hour in the courtroom. My friend was right, though I ended up not getting anything. No spousal support, no assets. We didn't have any kids, so child support wasn't even an option. And yeah, I do regret that now. I wish we'd had kids. Maybe then I would have had something to hold on to, some sort of leverage. But at the time we'd both decided to wait until I was in my early 30s. I thought I had time. Now looking back, it feels like such a massive mistake. Anyway, I'm living with my best friend. Now I pay her rent, and she's been a lifesaver. Throughout all of this, I'm honestly grateful to be away from my family, though things have gotten bad with them. Last I heard, one of my siblings is staying at a homeless shelter and my parents are couch surfing between friends' houses. It's a mess, and honestly, I blame them for a lot of it. They became so dependent on David's money that they never took steps to secure their own futures, and now they're paying the price. I didn't have any saving too, but at least I was smart enough to take action when David cut me off, when I've got a job now. It doesn't pay much and my degree isn't anything special, but it's enough to cover my rent and feed me. I'm surviving for now until I meet another rich guy who can take care of me, because let's be honest, that's what I'm used to. I'm just getting by working, keeping up with my skincare routine, and trying to stay afloat. I'm not saying I need a rich guy, but let's be real. I've always had a certain lifestyle and I'd like to get back to it eventually. If I'm being honest, I regret everything. I had something really good with David and I threw it all away for what a few moments of fun with guys who didn't mean anything to me. It wasn't worth it. I lost everything and now I can see how much I screwed up. I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and if I could go back in time, I would have never cheated on David. I had something so precious and I let it slip through my fingers. It's like I sabotaged my own life for no reason, and here's the kicker. David is thriving. I stalk his social media a lot, probably more than I should, but I can't help it. He looks happier than ever. He doesn't post much himself, but his sister does, and she's always showing off their luxurious vacations and family gatherings. David's living his best life and it's clear he's moved on. He's smiling more in photos, going to exotic places, and just glowing. It hurts to see. But at the same time, I can't stop watching. His family didn't reach out to me, not even once, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised. They never really liked me. Even after David and I got married, they always thought I wasn't good enough for him, and looking back, maybe they were right. They saw me for what I was, a gold digger. I tried to ignore it at the time, but now that the dust has settled, I can see how they always kept me at arm's length. I never fully fit in with them, and they're probably relieved that David got rid of me. And also, guys, please stop asking me about what happened to the 5 guys. I honestly have no idea, and at this point I couldn't care less. I've had much bigger fish to fry since everything went down after the whole mess with David exploded. Dealing with them was the last thing on my mind. I deleted their numbers, blocked them, and moved on. I didn't ask around, and to be completely honest, I didn't care to know. I had enough going on without worrying about their situation. It's not like I've had much of a social circle left either. When you don't have cash to throw around, people tend to disappear. And that's exactly what happened. Without David's bank account backing me, most of the so-called friends I used to hang out with have vanished. Funny how fast people turn their backs on you when you're no longer their ticket to a luxury lifestyle. I guess they were never real friends to begin with. The only ones still around are my few true friends, like the one I'm living with now. But back to the 5 guys. Considering the kind of influence David has, I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to make their lives difficult. I mean, he's powerful enough to keep them in jail for a while, or even have them wrongfully convicted if he really wanted to. I've seen firsthand just how much sway he has. He knows people, important people. And when he's wronged, he can pull strings like you wouldn't believe. Then again, David's never been the type to make a big scene. He's calm, composed, and always seemed like the nice guy. But I've learned that he can be incredibly vindictive when he wants to be so. Yeah, who knows what happened to those guys? If David wanted to get back at them, he absolutely could. But as far as I'm concerned, they're just a part of my past that I'd rather not think about. At this point, I'm more focused on trying to rebuild my life than worrying about what happened to them. They're not my problem anymore, and frankly, they never should have been. So that's where I am now, trying to pick up the pieces, survive on my own, and figure out what's next. And I don't know where I'm headed, but I do know this. I'm messed up and I have to live with that. No one else can fix this for me. Thanks for listening.